Hey guys, Tone here. Powerbelly had sent me 3 pairs of wraps. He sent me 3 pairs of knee wraps, asked if I'd do a video on them. So let's be clear, I'm not sponsored by Powerbelly, but he sent me 3 pairs of the wraps to do the video on. I said, look man, we're not sponsored. If they're shit or if I don't like them, I'm going to say that on the video. I'm not going to pull punches. I'm not going to tell you, hey, these are great when they suck. And he said, no problem. Still sending to me. I got the 3 pairs right here. The King Kongs, the Death Rows, and the Felonies. We tried all 3 this weekend. And I love that the guy was confident in his product. He knows I'm not going to pull punches. He knows I'm going to tell you how it is with them and if they, if they're good or not. And he still had the balls to send them to me for free just to do the review. We squatted them this week. The Jersey Iron Crew on Saturday, we all squatted in them. The Felonies, the Death Rows, the King Kongs. We did a little bit of each. But I'm not a big sit-around editing video kind of guy. I work with computers all day. It's not the biggest thing that I want to do is sit here and edit videos when I get home. I got other things to do. Being a dad, train, being a husband, just not going to cut it. So if you want to see some videos, I'll try and get some videos here and there of us squatting in them or whatever you want to see. Let me know. But, I'm just not going to sit around and put them into one big conglomerate video. I'm just going to sit here, tell you how they are, tell you what we found, and what we think. So let's get started with the Felonies. I forgot to put this thing in airplane mode, so I'm getting messages now. Let's start with the Felonies. The Felonies are the gray and orange ones. And, again, I'm getting another message. Mike Voorhees, stop messaging me. I'm in the middle of a video. The Felonies, same as the knee wraps. They're not super heavy. They're decent wraps. They have a lot of good rebounds and a lot of good compression right out of the box. I mean, when you get them, you open them up, you can stretch them, you can really get them around the knee, and they give you some support. They're not real stiff, but you can see the thickness of them is not too thick. They have some good give, and they're stretchy right out of the box. Real easy to use. I'd say probably beginners, amateurs and beginners, either raw or geared, these would be good. I would say either one of those for this would be good. They give you enough support. They're easy enough to get into and use and get down with without killing you and without being too tight where you're, cutting your blood off. I guess you could wrap them that way, but we didn't find that. We found they were pretty easy to use right out of the box. So the Felonies, I'd say if you're just getting into the wraps or if you're not a big on a real heavy wrap, the Felonies are the way to go. It's a good amount of spring with some casting. It doesn't take much to break them in at all. I mean, they're, like I said, out of the box, they're pretty much broken in, but after 4 or 5 uses, they're real stretchy. Not real stretchy, like stretched out, but you can get them around the knee. You can pull on them. They'll stretch for you, and they're easy to work with. So that's the Felonies. The Felonies are pretty nice. Again, we like them. They weren't our favorite, but we did like them. The only one we didn't review on these or the wrist wraps are the misdemeanors. However, a couple of I think Sweet D and Dave Soffin have some misdemeanor wraps. They're nice. They're very amateur wraps. They're very they stretch well. They compress well, but they're not very structured. They don't have any. They're not casting wraps. They're very just, they really stretch well, way more than the Felonies do. They really, they're soft, they're comfortable. If you're just a gym guy going in and hitting reps with 315, the misdemeanors are the way to go. I'm guessing on the knee wraps are probably the same way. All right, so there's the Felonies, and we talked a little bit about the misdemeanors. Next up, the next level he has is the blue and gray. There's gray and blue and blue and gray. Blue and gray. These are the Death Rows. These things are fucking awesome. Best by far of all his wraps. These things are amazing. They have enough casting and enough rebound where you'll get the best of both worlds. We love these. All of us fell in love with these this weekend. They are phenomenal wraps. Best wraps I've ever used by far. You can see the thickness on them. They're a little bit thicker than the Felonies. I'd say they're a double ply compared to the Felony single ply. I don't know what plies they are on. I'm just giving you something if you're a geared guy to go off of. It's like using single versus double ply. They do have some flexibility to them out of the box, but they're also very stiff. They have a little more body to them than the Felonies. They're blue with a gray stripe. It's a very good combination between the casting and the spring. I got my notes up here, so if you see me looking up, I'm just looking at my notes on the computer screen here. Whereas the felonies broke in after about 4 or 5 uses, the death rows are probably going to need 2 to 3 workouts. Used a couple times during each workouts, they'll break in nicely. We had a bunch of people using them, so by the end they were stretching out much more than they were at the beginning, like able to be, compressed, not stretching out as in terms of they're falling apart, but stretched out in terms of you were able to pull them around the knee. Out of the box, they were kind of stiff, not so much that you couldn't use them, but you're going to need a good grip to get them around that knee. You got to work to get them around that knee. Your wrapper's going to be out of breath and tired to get them around your knee tight and compressed. But they are phenomenal wraps. I think, I don't even know, they just put weight for me on. I was wrapping up and they were just throwing weight on the bar. It was something like 575 or something on the bar with the death rows, and it came up like nothing. Like I didn't even know that was on there. They're amazing. They have a good amount of support. The I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. The casting of them is solid. However, they also have a great amount of compression where you get that spring out of the bottom. The constriction gets better as they get used more. You're able to pull them a little bit tighter and get them around a little bit tighter. So it gets even better the more you use them, the better they get up to a point until they're broken in well. Again, I think these can be used at any level. They're nice, unbelievable wraps, but you're going to have to work harder with these if you're a new lifter. It's going to take you more to really hit depth, and it's going to take you more to keep them knees out and to keep your technique versus the felonies, because these are very heavy. For an advanced geared or raw lifter, these are the way to go. They are amazing wraps. They kill the King Kongs. We're going to go over to King Kongs next. I could shit on the King Kongs compared to these. King Kongs are nice wraps. These are amazing. The death rows are by far our favorite wrap. And I have a little treat for you guys. I don't know if you saw it at the beginning. I'm going to try and put a little thing in the beginning of the video and something at the end. But Powerbelly knew these were wraps that we liked. After we talked about it, I called him up. I said, hey, here's what I think of them. I'm about to put the review up. And he gave us a code. Tone 15. Tone, my name, 15. What that's going to do is going to get you 15% off all death row knee wraps and wrist wraps. So if you order a pair of death row knee wraps, put Tone 15 in the code, you get 15% off. You order a pair of death row wrist wraps, you put Tone 15 in there, you get 15% off. So make sure you use that code and, get these wraps. These wraps are badass. Most of us, again, in Jersey Iron, preferred these to the felonies or the King Kongs, the death rows. They are amazing wraps. Ton of support. The constriction is great. The bang you get out of the hole with these things is phenomenal. Phenomenal. I could see somebody with their tight wrap getting at least 70 pounds out of these. No doubt in my mind. They're that good. They are banging ass wraps. A lot of these, by the way, ask me, hey, what do you guys, squat 300, what do you think? It doesn't really matter. I mean, we were giving you some overall, advanced wrap, new guy wrap. But if you get into a pair of wraps and learn how to use them, a guy squatting 200 could use the King Kongs. It's just a matter of getting used to it and learning how to use it. I mean, the most advanced guy shooting a gun can use the best rifle in the world. Doesn't mean you'll be great with it, but you can use it and you'll learn how to use it. So it's not really a matter of, how I squat 300, should I go with the misdemeanors? Or should I go, I squat 800, should I go with the King Kongs? It's a matter of what you like. It's a matter of what feels best on you and what you like. That's why I'm trying to tell you about casting versus compression. Which ones cast better, which one compresses better, how they feel, how they break in, how hard they are to wrap. That's going to be important more than the weight you're squatting. So again, these are the death rows. These are our favorite. The Tone 15 will get you 15% off them if you order from Powerbelly. They are our favorite wraps. They have a lot of a good compression and stretch. They're casting well. It gives you the best of both worlds. We loved these wraps. Last one we got to talk about. These are the King Kongs. You can see, again, just like the wrist wraps, they're very, very thick. There's not a whole lot of stretch to these. They're probably our third favorite, too. These are the most expensive ones. They're the most high-end ones. And they're probably our least favorite, honestly. We had a real hard time. They're great casting wraps. If you put these on, there's a ton of material on your knee. And it's heavy, hard material. So if you like casting your knee, these are the way to go. Their casting is great. However, there's very little compression. You can't, at least straight out of the box, it may take you, I don't know, maybe 2 months worth of squatting and rapping with these things to get them to compress it all, because there's really not a whole lot. You really have to work to get these stretched to compress around your knee, at least straight out of the package. They're very, very stiff. They're going to take several months to break in completely. They're hard to wrap because of the stiffness of them. They're very stiff and rigid, and they're actually hard to wrap. We had trouble tying it off. After you get it wrapped around, you try and tie it off at the end. We had trouble with that because it doesn't move. It's like trying to tie a pipe cleaner. You know, you can't really get a tight knot, because if you just get it around, it just kind of sits there. These were tough to tie off. They're not material where you can just rip them around and rip off. They're stiff. So it was very hard to tie off. You don't get a lot of compression out of them, at least out of the package, because they are so thick that when you try and wrap them, there's not a lot of spring there. It's just a casting kind of wrap right out of the box. I don't know what it's going to be like if we keep using them. I don't know, maybe 2 months down the road, 3 months down the road, they may break in and I might like them a little more. But out of the box, they're tough. If you're going to try and use them, I would get them well ahead of your meet and use them and use them and use them and really try and break them in. You can't stretch around the knee. It's very stiff. You can, but it's going to kill your grip. You better have a grip like an arm wrestler to get these around your knee. It's really that tough. But the upside is you get a ton of material behind your knee. If you wrap and you get all this material behind your knee, it's like the old days of having a tennis ball behind your knee. The old guys used to squat with ace bandages and tennis balls behind. That's what this is like. I mean, there's enough material here where it's going to stack up behind your knee, and it's going to be great if you like that kind of wrap, if you like the casting kind of wrap and like having a lot of material behind your knee to hit into. Again, they were our third favorite. They're the most expensive. I didn't like them just because they're so thick and they're very hard to use. Again, maybe down the road as they get broke in, I'll update and say, hey, they've actually turned out pretty nice, but they're tough to use. They're real hard. I definitely would not recommend these for anybody new to squatting. They're very, very tough to use. Very, very tough to wrap with, very tough to get on. And the same thing happened with the wrist wraps. We'd get them on, and occasionally they'd move, they'd slide, because they're so stiff. They don't, it's not like the death rows or the felonies where you can get a stretch out on them and they sort of adhere to it. These are so stiff that they don't really adhere once you wrap it to the wrap itself. They kind of slip and move a little bit. Like I said, again, the wraps have broken in a little bit. I kind of like the King Kongs on the wrist wraps. Knee wraps, we'll see how it goes. If they break in, we'll. All right. Again, the code is TONE15. If you care to order death row knee wraps or wrist wraps, you'll get 15% off. Cara Powerbelly. Put that in there. Felonies, new gear or raw lifter would be probably pretty good in those. They'd give you some support. They'd give you some casting. They'd give you some spring. Death rows, again, a little more advanced than the felonies. A lot of great compression, good casting, good bounce out of the hole. They were our favorites again. They were amazing. And the King Kongs. King Kongs are very, very stiff, but there's a shitload of material there. Once you break them in, they could be excellent, but it's going to take a while to break them in. They're very stiff, very tough wraps. And from one little thing Powerbelly's telling me, he may even look to something heavier, which I can't even fathom. I don't think I'd even be interested. But there are guys out there that will use them, so we'll see. That's all I got. That was just it. A quick video for Powerbelly's wraps there. They are good. They're well made. Didn't have any problem with any fraying, anything coming apart. We used a drill to roll them, and no problem, pulling it in and out of the drill. Nothing frayed, nothing came off. No problems with the elasticity. None of those issues. So They're very well made. I guess that's all I got. Feel free to hit me up with questions. If you want to see any kind of video, I'll post. I think I have one video of Brian Kane talking about the death throws when he came out of squatting with them in gear with bands. He loved them, so maybe I'll post that up underneath this video so people can see it. Again, hit me up with any questions or concerns, and I'll keep getting videos out to you and keep reviewing what I get. If I get some, knee wraps, wrist wraps from anywhere, I'll let you know, and we'll review them. I'll be happy to do it. Okay, fellas, take care. Tone 15. See you.